Hello, WrestleTalk fans, and welcome to another edition of WrestleTalk. On this Labor Day 2010, we bring you a special edition of the all-important WrestleTalk. Wrestling news, gossip, rumors, insider information, and, as always, my opinions on shit, other people's opinions, and more importantly, your opinion. I'm your host, Joshua Zimmerman, avid wrestling fan since 1999. Again, with my special co host, Wrestling Insider and follower, James Kincade. We've got about 10 years. Say hi.
Hi.
Today on Wrestle Talk, we're going to discuss why they feel the need to let Eric Bishoff speak. And in that, we go right into today's, well, not right in. On today's show, we also have what Mr. Kincade thinks would fix both brands, a recap of what's currently going on with both brands on the inside. Uh, One might not be around come WrestleMania, so just listen to how I worded that. Um, No surrender yesterday. Apparently, no one surrendered because I doubt if anybody bought it because they didn't hype it up. Uh, a match that was there but wasn't hyped as the main event or hyped damn near it up enough. Kurt Angle versus Jeff Hardy. And we go right into, first and foremost, Eric Bischoff being able to speak on behalf of the organization. He says, and I quote, "We will never be able to compete with, of course, we will not be able to compete with World Wrestling Entertainment as far as entertainment goes. They have more money than we do." In a nutshell, full interview available on pwtorch.com, Pro Wrestling Torch, Wrestling Insider Information since 1987. And we all know this isn't true. If you'll follow along with me as we walk down this painful road of the what was TNA Museum, you see everything that TNA used to be. To your left, new wrestlers. To your right, new ideas. To your left again, further down the hall, a combination of both. Creativity meets innovation for the industry, new stuff, an alternative for the wrestling fan. That's how TNA came on the scene. So apparently, when Eric Bischoff made this statement, he didn't realize that TNA didn't have any money when they made it big. They had less money than Vince, and they were putting out a product that was better than Vince. This guy smokes better stuff than I do. This is insane. And just to get your thoughts on this, apparently you can't entertain on a budget. Is that what he's implying, Jim?
Good.
He more or less says, of course we're not going to be able to beat WWE. We don't have their money. He insinuates that in order to entertain like them, they have to have millions, but they've already proven that they can do it with star power and less money and the combination of storylines and wrestlers. They did good because they had all of those things at a time when WWE was losing it, if not lost it. Does Eric not remember that these guys used to quietly be on top? They were the preferred alternative? What's he? This is the voice of the company, Jim. Basically making it look like an asshole. Of course we can't entertain. We don't have money like Vince McMahon, is more or less what he said.
Okay. Well, let's defending it. I honestly believe that he shouldn't be, stating that bank account equals entertainment. But I think he's saying that because they don't have the bank account, they couldn't afford some of the things that helped WWE. But at the same time,
Yeah, but what I'm saying is how is that true when TNA was doing it with less years ago and they had a better that's how they got their following. They quietly have had a used to have a better product than if you were bored with World Wrestling Entertainment, you knew you could turn on TNA and at least have solid wrestling entertainment. And they had less money at the time than Vince. So why is the head of one of the heads of this company saying, "Don't expect us to compete. We don't have the money. We can't entertain." Do you see you see what a contradiction it looks like? Because they did.
I do.
Oh, okay.
I really do. It's sad to see where they came from when Wednesday night pay-per-views, they were the cheap alternative, and it was like, wow, these guys are different. Maybe I should check them out. Let's see what happens. They get on TV, and who would have thought it? They fuck it up. They gradually start fucking things up. Now, personally, many of you might think otherwise, but I thought when they made the switch, the 600 ring, the 10-minute slash 2-minute matches, because that's really what they were, was a terrible concept. I didn't like the fact that slowly but surely you started seeing the rejects on there. I'm not saying don't give them a job. I'm saying give them a job based on what they can do for you and not what you can do for them. Or is it the other way around? Sometimes I get them backwards. Basically, they only hired these WWE rejects because, well, Joe Plate's got her WWE rejects. Kurt Angle should not have won every title in the same match. They also blew a great deal with that Ultimate Joe winning streak.
Now, let me ask you this before we go into any of that. What does that make you believe that TNA is more or less already conceded to defeat before they even got out the gate? If you got Eric Bischoff saying we can't entertain without the bank account of the bigger guy.
Yeah, I think he did, and like I said, I put this
folks, there you have it. If they keep, basically, we're going to move on a little bit because I want to hit another topic or two and speed it up a little. But don't expect these guys by WrestleMania if they keep it up. They will not see another Mania if this continues. The argument is Eric Bischoff wasn't there when this company was at its peak. It just recently took this turn for the shitter, and it just happens to like the view of the shitter, I guess. Because they just keep looking down. Nobody's looking up. Now, to touch on this, again, your headliners cannot be older than your ring.
Nice way to put that, and quite accurate as a matter of fact.
I'm just saying that they can't still be 50 years old. Kevin Nash. They can't be 50 years old and still expect the fans to believe that they got a main event match left in them if they need assistance getting to the ring. If they're using one of them, them chairs for the handicapped people that literally
literally
go up the steps for you. If he starts out with one of those, and it parks his ass right near the ring, I will stop watching wrestling. Because then they're just pushing the shit. I'm sorry. He's had a lot of time to heal. I'm sure he's probably got a match in him. But he's been out of the game so long, he's irrelevant. His fans aren't there anymore. Nobody that I know of, I remember a point in time when I didn't even follow it, but I knew what the Wolfpack was.
Yeah, of course, at that time, you probably didn't have much of a choice.
Well, I mean,
everywhere.
he should see, the argument I'm trying to make is he should see where the peak in his career was, where mid-career was, and that WCW was more or less, hey, I made money when they went under. I made money off the TNA so far. Why don't I just hang it up while they still respect me, you know?
Uh-huh.
It's going to either get to a point where he can't, and I'm not even trying to poke fun, it's going to get to a point where he can't physically come out to the ring, or it's just going to look so poor that he's going to wind up turning the cheers into boos, because what he's showing him now isn't vintage Kevin Nash. It's retirement. No joke. Look. Get yourself a.
Oh, I know you're not making a joke.
No,
I'm funny as
get
shit.
yourself a storyline gig. Do something, man. If you still want to be in wrestling, great. We need you. You did pioneer it, but do it behind the scenes. Help us out with these writers, man. The entertainment writers have taken over what you innovated. Help us out. You might only have a match or two left, and you obviously still want to stay in the game because you keep coming out every week and cutting promos. So, you still come out, like, you still have a passion for the business, do something with it. But,
yeah.
Moving on from there.
Well, one quick thing. Gotta warn you, though. I believe Nash was the booker at one point in WCW. And I just leave that where it lies.
So he's had the backstage experience, right?
And it was around '01, I believe. You know, right around when they were spiraling hopelessly into the abyss.
Into the abyss, or were they at the peak where they were doing all right?
No, into the abyss.
Oh yeah, that's right. When was the buyout?
It was around '01. I think they were pretty much just. They were coasting by right after.
You mean WWE's had these companies for almost a decade?
Give or take.
Well, there's another point right in itself. A decade later, look where wrestling is. All I'm saying, and this is part 1 of 2, we're going to discuss what can be fixed, because I do feel for, like, me and Kincade go back and forth with it, but this one company can do better because the big guy doesn't think it has to compete anymore because it has enough money in its coffer to bail itself out of anything. But we, the wrestling fan, wanted the competition. We wanted to see how, in the end, or close to it, like, if you didn't like a Raw, you could switch over and watch a Nitro. Or if Nitro was ending, you knew you still had your main event for Raw to look forward to. Just, these things can be fixed. And in part 2, we'll highlight what can fix both brands, more on Eric Bishoff, more wrestling news and insider information on part 2. Stay tuned.